I think Volkswagen was having a bit of an identity crisis when the Beetle was being phased out. Where do you go next after you sell millions and millions of cars? The way that Volkswagen approached it was to take this one platform called the A1 and make as many derivatives of it as possible. So you have the Golf, which is the tidy hatchback, you had a Jetta sedan, you have the Cabriolet, and then you have the sports car, and that was the Scirocco. Volkswagen had previously done that, making a Karmann Ghia out of the Beetle. And the Scirocco was also built by Karmann. It was just a special model, I think, to get people to notice that, hey, something with humble roots can be cool too. My name is Jason Cammisa, and I drive a Volkswagen Scirocco 16-valve. I think I was born interested in cars. I bought my first car at 14, then it was 60 bucks, and I just had to have it, and I had no license, and I had nowhere to put it, and I, of course, couldn't tell my parents or they'd kill me. So I sort of secretly bought this Beetle and learned to work on it, but eventually went away when my parents found out. This car definitely changed the path of my life because it forced me to be a mechanic. I was in college, I didn't have any money to buy it. There was no way I would have been able to keep this car. I don't think I still could have this car if I had to pay somebody to work on it. So what started out as a fuel pump here or there became an engine here or there, or a transmission here or there. There's always something. I could be mad at the car for that, but ultimately I value that experience. I tend to like wolves in sheep's clothing, cars that just are totally unassuming looking. And I like rear drive cars. My nickname was always Slideways. I wanted to be sideways always. It wasn't supposed to be a coupe. It wasn't supposed to be front wheel drive. But funny enough, despite all of that, it's always been my favorite car. So I work right now for Road & Track magazine. I'm a senior editor, which means I test cars and I write and review. The biggest surprise that people get is that I leave a Veyron Supersport or a Porsche 918 Hybrid, and all I want to do is go home and drive my Scirocco. People who drive this car get it. It's just that lovely combination of reliable enough, fast enough, modern enough, but raw, and it works as a perfect bar for me to judge all modern cars against. As electric power steering becomes the norm, I go back to this car and say, here's a front-wheel drive car with power steering that has great steering feel and no torque steer. If it was possible then, it should be possible now. And when a car company says, well, front-wheel drive cars don't do this, I say, bull, it does. So it's a great benchmark for me to go back, and it's a constant for 18 years for me. I can't stop smiling when I drive this car. It's kind of little and it's really nimble and just surprises the hell out of everyone. Everything feels intimately connected. There is no hydraulics in the clutch. It is your foot, a cable, and the clutch. The throttle is a cable. The steering is obviously direct connection. It's unfiltered, and you feel things and hear things in this car that you just don't get in most other cars. Nothing keeps up with these things on autocross courses and back roads. They're just really good, and I don't think people expect that. I think the A1 chassis Volkswagen, whether it's a Scirocco or a GTI, is the benchmark for fun in a front-wheel drive car. I've probably sold 300 GTIs to friends who have gotten in this car and said, wow, Volkswagens are cool and I never realized it. So the longer I can keep this on the road, the better. I don't really think anyone's beat it. There are cars that do individual things better, but to get in and have the biggest smile on your face, this is the benchmark. When you look at this car as a permanent fixture in your life, it's like, uh-oh, what am I gonna do when a windshield wiper breaks? At 10 years old, it was very difficult to get parts. At 28 years old, it's impossible to get parts for this car. And I really worry what will happen 20 years from now. At that point, it's a 50-year-old car. All of its parts have been out of production for 40 years. What do I do? What's gonna happen when I'm a 60-year-old and I'm trying to find a fuel pump? Am I gonna have to convert it to carbs? Will carbs exist? Am I gonna have to put an electric motor in it? The curse of owning this car is that on paper, it's worthless. You look in a book and it's 2,000 bucks, 10,000, whatever it is. In reality, it's the most important thing in my life. How do you make those things work? It's not worth anyone's business to make reproduction parts for a car that's effectively worth a couple $1,000s. The Porsche community's in a different position because these cars are going up and up and up in value. I don't see that happening with these early Volkswagens, which makes me think that they're going to become even more rare. I hope one day this car's worth 100 grand, only so that it's in someone's best interest to please make me a Fender, because the Fenders ran out in '99, done. Can't get any more. There's nothing left, so it's junkyard diving and begging my friends. I'm scared of it for that reason, and I'm scared for all automotive enthusiasts for that reason. I hope that Volkswagen and every other car company listen to their enthusiast base and see this is special. The relationship that we develop with these cars benefits them.